Number 40%. That's your phone battery right now in a house where every drawer is about to matter more than it did an hour ago. The power just went out, and somewhere in your kitchen is a $4 tool nobody has touched in years. Not a generator, not a solar panel, just a small metal shape that decides whether a full pantry is actually food or just sealed storage. Generators and backup batteries sell out fast once a storm watch goes up. This list starts before that. And number 1 isn't something you buy to survive the blackout. It's something that decides whether you survive the thing everyone forgets is more dangerous than the dark. You still have time tonight. Not once the forecast turns. A blackout doesn't fail because the power is out. It fails because one small system inside your house quietly stops working, and nobody notices until the exact moment they need it. Some of these you already own. The question is whether they still work, whether they're charged, or whether they're the wrong version entirely. Watch for that pattern because it repeats 7 different ways, and the last one isn't about comfort at all. Number 7. The manual can opener. The cans aren't the problem, the lid is. Most people stock the pantry before a storm. Soup, beans, vegetables, a shelf that looks genuinely prepared. Then the power goes out, the electric opener becomes a dead brick, and somewhere in a junk drawer is the one small tool that actually gets you inside. A full pantry of canned goods is functionally sealed storage without it. That's not a joke, that's the whole system collapsing over a $2 item. It's easy to miss because it's cheap and unglamorous. Nobody puts a manual can opener on a prep list because it doesn't feel like preparedness. It feels like clutter. But dollar store versions of this exact tool are often the first small kitchen item to vanish off the shelf once a storm warning posts, right alongside the batteries and the water. At home, the consequence is almost funny until it isn't. A full shelf of food, a hungry family, and no way in. A knife or multi-tool works, technically, but slower and with more risk in a dark kitchen. Buy 2. One stays in the kitchen drawer, one goes in the go bag. That's the whole fix. That's the easy one. The next item isn't about food at all, it's about whether anyone will take your money. Number 6. Cash in small bills. Money doesn't disappear in a blackout. Access to it does. Card readers, ATMs, even the tap to pay on your phone, all of it depends on the same grid and the same connectivity that just went down. A store can have the lights on with a generator, doors open, shelves stocked, and still not be able to process a single transaction. You can be standing there with a full bank account and walk out with nothing. Most people assume, I have savings solves this. It doesn't solve it in the moment, because the problem isn't whether you have money, it's whether the system in front of you can read it. There's no shelf signal for this one. The signal is behavioral. Notice how many purchases you make in a normal week without touching a single physical bill. If that number is close to 0, you have 0 blackout cash. And here's the twist people miss. Small bills matter more than large ones. Change becomes its own shortage when a store is running on a generator and a shoebox. Keep a modest, rotating stash of small bills, not a lockbox full of hundreds, just enough to actually be usable when the machines go dark. Cash gets you the food, but the food you already have is on a clock, whether you've noticed it or not. Number 5. A cooler and real ice, not just freezer trays. Your fridge doesn't fail all at once. It fails on a stopwatch, and the stopwatch starts the second the lights go out. An unopened refrigerator holds a safe temperature for about 4 hours. A full freezer buys you roughly 48. A half-full one only gives you 24. After that window, the food inside can look completely normal, same color, same smell, and still not be safe to eat. That's the part that catches people off guard. Nothing about the food warns you. The rule is, when in doubt, throw it out, because you genuinely cannot tell by looking. This is where a lot of households lose real money, not from a shortage, but from waiting 2 days too late to buy ice. Coolers, ice bags, and gel packs are consistently among the first things to disappear off shelves the moment a storm warning posts right alongside batteries, right alongside water. If you're grabbing a cooler after the power is already out, you're already behind. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Freeze water jugs and gel packs before you ever need them. That thermal mass extends your safe window well past 4 hours, and most people only think about ice after it's too late to matter. Keep a cooler year-round, not just in storm season. It's cheap insurance against throwing away an entire freezer of meat. Food loss is expensive. But losing contact with the outside world is worse, and that's where this list turns a corner. Number 4. Batteries the right kind, not just any kind. A battery isn't a battery. It's a countdown. And the length of that countdown depends entirely on what it's feeding. This is the item everyone assumes they've already handled. Grab a multi-pack, toss it in a drawer, done. But a headlamp or a radio drains basic batteries far faster than a clock or a remote does, especially in a cold room during a multi-day outage. The wrong battery in the right device just means a shorter blackout with a longer dark stretch at the end of it. People overlook this because they think batteries is one category instead of a dozen different demands. And here's the shelf signal worth watching. The common sizes AA are usually the first to thin out locally once a storm forecast spreads, while oddball sizes sit untouched on the shelf, useless to almost anyone. Picture navigating a dark house with a headlamp that dies an hour into the outage, right when you actually need it, not when you tested it in daylight. The deeper fix isn't just stockpiling once it's rotating stock, using and replacing so batteries don't quietly expire in the back of a drawer for 3 years. Start by matching battery type to whatever device in your house drains power fastest. That's your real weak point, not the drawer full of assorted packs. Light gets you through the house. The next item gets you in touch with everyone outside it. Number 3. A charged power bank, kept charged. A power bank that isn't charged is just a brick with a cable. This is the item almost every household already owns, and almost every household owns it in the wrong state. The failure here isn't ownership. It's charge level. Most power banks only get topped up after the outage has already started, which is exactly the moment it's too late to fix. Your phone becomes the primary lifeline during a blackout updates, restoration timelines, contact with family, and none of that matters if it's sitting at 2% with a dead backup next to it. Emergency guides talk about building a charging stack, power banks, cables, and chargers grouped together in one container, specifically because short windows of restored power are exactly when real recharging happens. That's a habit, not a purchase. Check the charge level monthly, not just once when you bought it. There's a second layer here too. Your car can double as a backup charger, but only if there's fuel in the tank, which means one overlooked item can quietly compound into a second one. Keep it charged as a standing routine, not a scramble the night before a storm. A charged phone is useless if there's no signal telling you what's actually happening outside your street. And that's a different problem than the one you just solved. Number 2, a battery or hand crank weather radio. Your phone tells your family you're safe. A radio tells you what's actually happening around you. This is the twist most people never separate out. A charged phone solves communication, but it doesn't solve information. Because both depend on a cell network and Wi-Fi that can go down with the exact same grid failure that killed your lights. You can have a full battery and still be completely cut off from any real update. Most households assume a smartphone already covers this. It doesn't, not when towers lose backup power during an extended outage. Emergency guides list a battery-powered or hand-crank weather radio as its own separate item, not a backup to the phone, a completely different layer. It's easy to miss because it's a narrow, low-turnover product. Most people have never bought one in their life, so it never crosses their mind until stock quietly thins out during an active storm season. The consequence at home is missing an evacuation notice or a restoration timeline because the only source of information in the house was a phone with no signal. A hand crank version removes the battery dependency entirely, which closes a loop this whole list has been circling since number 4. You now have light, power, food that's still safe, cash, and information. The last item on this list isn't about comfort at all. Number 1. A battery backup carbon monoxide alarm. The generator doesn't kill people. What people forget to put in the room next to it does. This is the item tied directly to how people actually die during blackouts, not from the dark itself, but from what they run to fight it. A portable generator produces carbon monoxide at a level roughly comparable to the exhaust of hundreds of cars running at once, and carbon monoxide has no color, no smell, no warning. A household running a generator too close to the house has no natural way to know something's wrong until it's already a medical emergency. This is the twist that reframes everything else on this list. The item people buy to solve the blackout a generator is the same item most likely to create the real danger, and the fix isn't a bigger generator. It's a $20 or $30 alarm that most people never think to buy because it feels like a smoke detector problem, unrelated to storm prep. Walk through a store during hurricane season and you'll see it. Generators and batteries get the display space up front. Co-alarms are usually somewhere in the back, easy to walk past entirely. That's not because they matter less, it's because they don't look dramatic enough to display. Estimates put generator-related carbon monoxide deaths at roughly 85 to 100 people a year in the US, and the overwhelming majority of those happen right at home, not somewhere unusual. The picture is almost always the same: a family running a generator overnight, too close to a window or a door, asleep, with no alarm to wake them. A battery backup CO alarm on every level of the house, tested monthly, paired with running the generator at least 20 feet from windows and doors, is the entire fix. It's not complicated. It's just easy to forget, because nothing about it looks urgent until the moment it's the only thing that matters. And here's the part that ties this whole list together. The light, the charged phone, the radio, the food you saved with a cooler, the cash in your wallet, none of it means anything if the household doesn't survive the device meant to power all of it. This is the one item on the list that isn't about surviving the inconvenience of the dark. It's about surviving the fix. So here's how the whole system actually connects. A can opener means nothing without cash to buy the food that fills the pantry in the first place. That food means nothing without a cooler and real ice to keep it safe once the clock starts. Light gets you through the house, but it means nothing without a charged way to reach the people outside it. A phone means nothing without a radio, the moment cell networks fail, along with everything else. And none of it matters, none of it if the generator meant to power the whole system becomes the actual danger in the room. Here's the calm, practical move. On your next shopping trip, grab 2 items from this list. One under $5, one under $30. And tonight, not during the next storm, go test the batteries in your CO alarm. Which one of these 7 did you already own, but forgot to check?